Hey folks, this is BestInSlot. Welcome back to our Jurassic World Evolution 2 Mods of the Week Spotlight series. 7 mods to take a look at today, including tons of new cosmetics and tons of brand new species, dinosaurs and otherwise. Nothing to do with Quetzalcoatlus. So, before we get started, very quick disclaimer. As per usual, mods can cause problems with your game. I haven't had an issue in a very long time. It tends to be a problem when you're chopping and changing mods. I wouldn't worry too much about it. But if you do have an issue, it's not my fault. It's not the mod maker's fault. And most importantly, it's not Frontier's fault. Quetzal has finally decided to wake up. I've been staring at it for about half an hour, and yeah, that was a bit weird. No Asmodeus today because I don't have a good excuse. Right, let's get started with today's video. I think they're trapped. So I'm just gonna grab these. We're gonna. This has been happening to me a lot lately. I wonder if there's something going on with my game. Anyways, let's go check them out. This is Corythoraptor by That One Glitch. A very, very, very cool looking mod. I think you'll agree. So Corythoraptor, an oviraptorid from the late Cretaceous of China. Of course, you may remember it appearing in Prehistoric Planet in that beautiful, luscious, is that the word I want to use? It's the word I've used, that sort of blue coloration. We have a really good idea of what Corythoraptor would have looked like. We have a fantastic skeletal specimen for this creature. Just one really, really good specimen. Somehow we got this incredible high quality dinosaur, but we only got one of them. Somehow we've only found one of them, even though the one we do have is so incredibly top tier. Famed for its large crest, much like a modern cassowary, of course, it lived in what's now known as the Nanjiang Formation, where it coexisted with at least 5 that we know of other oviraptorids. Now, it's likely that they all survived together via what's called niche partitioning, and that's really just where similar dinosaurs, in this case all our oviraptorids, still kind of partition and find themselves their own individual little niches in terms of diet more than anything else. Although they may be all oviraptorids, they wouldn't necessarily have eaten the same things. Maybe someone's going to specialize to eat nuts, maybe someone's going to specialize for taller trees, someone's going to specialize for fruits, stuff like that. This is a really, really cool mod by Glitch. Really, really nicely made. It's really cool to have this kind of mid-sized oviraptorid. You know, we got our teeny tiny oviraptor, we've got our much larger Gigantoraptor, and now we've got Corythoraptor filling in that gap in the middle. Some lovely details there on the crest. So again, that crest very, very tall, very, very prominent, absolutely humongous, what it's known for. Really interesting detail on the upper beak there as well, which kind of looks like teeth jutting out at the front of the mouth, which is very unusual. Really like this patterning in general. Beautifully feathered, as you can see, fully feathered all the way along. We've got a little bit of a tail fan there, not as resplendent as it would be on one of our larger oviraptorids, and then proper wings there as well around the arms. Just really, really well made, blends into the game beautifully. I would have been super happy if Frontier had released this as a Corythoraptor. And we've got tons of colours, tons of variety, and yeah, just a really, really great looking creature. Really recommend this one. Well, this colourful chap is Attenborosaurus. This was made by Syntech with help from Ogibear and Netraptor, and this is an Argentinian abelosaurid from the early Jurassic. Now, Eo, you may know about Eo Triceratops, you may have heard of that one. Eo in Eo Abellosaurus. Eo means dawn, so the Eo Abellosaurus is named as such because it came before the Abellosaurus. It's like an early relative of the Abellosaurus, which you may well have heard of as well. Now, in cladistic analysis, it was placed as the most basal of the Abellosauridae, the earliest one of its kind. So this is, you know, they started to appear in the early Jurassic, basically. And only a single trait, I don't know what that trait is, but basically if it had one more trait different, would have been even less derived and being placed in the very annoyingly named Abellosauridae. So there's Abellosauridae, which then contains the Abellosauridae. And why anyone thinks that's okay is beyond me. The interesting thing is the head shape in particular. Abellosaurids are well known for having these very, very globular sort of head shapes. You can kind of see it there on the Eoabellosaurus. Bloody, that's not an easy one to say. This kind of curve here at the front of the snout. But because it was less derived than the later Abellosaurids, that full-on globular head shape hadn't fully developed quite yet for the Eoabellosaurus. So it's kind of represented there, and that's a little bit more rectangular. It doesn't have the full circular shape we would see later on. And other than that, it just blends in. It's really nice, sort of fairly standard Abellosaurus sort of skin going on the body, and then we've got this burst of colour there on the skull. This one's been dipping its head into blood and cocaine, apparently. It's kind of, that's the Scarface one over there, but all of them have this lovely red coloration around the skull, and then this very varied, very interesting pink sort of pattern, which is not a colour we see represented very much. This one, those dark stripes, looks even cooler, I would suggest. Just a really good looking straight up Abellosaurid, and I think we're about to see ourselves a bit of a social animation. Let's see how this works out. Well, it was cute, then it was angry. It's basically every relationship I've ever had. But they look really good together. Great looking Abellosaurid to add to your parks. Next up, we have a dinosaur that we see modded quite a lot. This is Saurophaganax by, and this is a cavalcade of people right here, Ben124, Sergestus, El Reptiliano, Viral Cyclopes, and Game Videos for Life, all collabing together to bring this thing to life. We've talked about Saurophaganax quite a lot, because a lot of people, it's a really cool dinosaur and people want to make mods of it, understandably. But I'll give you a little information anyway. It is, of course, a late Jurassic Allosaurid from Oklahoma. Very fitting. I just watched Twisters at the cinema yesterday, and as the largest terrestrial carnivore of late Jurassic North America, this thing was a force of destruction in its own right at 34 feet long. This was basically the apex predator of North America during the late Jurassic. Now, as I think we talk about a lot when it comes to Saurophaganax, we're still not really sure if it's its own genus or if indeed it is a species of Allosaurus, and that would be Allosaurus maximus, I believe it is. I didn't write that down. There's more material that has been discovered in New Mexico that's currently being studied, and that may well clear it up once and for all and let us definitively say, well, never definitively in paleontology, but hopefully somewhat more definitively say Saurophaganax is its own genus, which I think is where things are trending, or if it is indeed just a species of Allosaurus. But we'll have to wait and see. Let's take a moment to appreciate the mod itself. It's another really fantastic Saurophaganax kind of mod, modeled really, really well. That prominent crest, I love that it's highlighted in the color, you know, really makes it stand out. The big theropods largely suit those slightly more tame colors, although we're about to see an exception in a second. But I really like this kind of almost veiny like sort of style we've got going on here along the body, and then it descends into these darker stripes, and then it blends in at the end of the tail. It's a very naturalistic looking predator. It feels like it would be an apex predator, you know, it's large, it's ferocious looking, it looks ready to hunt. That black stripe descending down through the jaw there, and those prominent angry eyeballs. Your eyeballs are far too textured, my friend. Why are your eyeballs so textured? This very cool new I'm just going to have to pause on this one. This is Pneumatoraptor by Netraptor with help from Trippy28. Boundy little boy on the Compsognathus rig, as you can see. And Pneumatoraptor, which I think might have been a new one on me. Very cool, this one. Is a small Hungarian Paravian dinosaur. Maybe the first Hungarian dinosaur we've highlighted. It's definitely been a while, if nothing else. Hailing from the late Cretaceous, the name is a reference to the hollow spaces in the bones of this dinosaur that would have been filled with air sacs in reality. Now, fun fact, this is also often true for dinosaurs like our Corythoraptor earlier on. Oviraptorids often have big hollow bones and lots of air sacs in them. Makes you a little bit more susceptible to having your bones broken, but it also makes you a lot lighter, and that's, you know, birds obviously do that in the modern times. Our modern avian dinosaurs do the same thing. Now, as you can see, how have you ended up over here already? This one is beautiful, so let's grab this one and have a proper look at it. Dramatic. So as you can see, this thing is fairly tiny. about a third of the size of a velociraptor. So it's quite a small dinosaur. It's one of the smallest ones we have rocking in the game at the moment. And I just want to show you, before we talk about the design here, the life restoration they've got on Wikipedia, because it's incredible. So this is drawn by Michael BH, i.e. Funk Monk, and just look at this, he's so angry. It's like a tiny little fluffy bear that happens to have wings and a beak, you know, it's fluffing out all over the place, and it is raging. It's very, very cute. It's very funny to look at. And I've got to say, Netraptor, and I think Netraptor did most of the design here, has done a phenomenal design with this thing. I think this is a fantastic looking dinosaur. Really, really cool. The feathering is beautiful. It's got a really interesting model. We don't really have like a small feathered dinosaur that looks anything like this. We don't really have a small dinosaur that looks like this at all. This kind of longer snout, almost reminiscent of a... it's almost more reminiscent of, say, like an Ostroraptor or something like that, with that really long, elongated snout. Makes you think it would be good at, you know, hunting for small fish or something like that. Maybe insects in the case of the Pneumatoraptor, which really didn't have much information out there. So this one with the brown and the green. Got one over here in purple and white, you know, just tons of variety, tons of colour, purple and green there. Got a sort of green and sort of black and grey one. A yellow and grey one bounding around. Huge variety, really cool for filling out exhibits, adding a little bit of colour, adding a little bit of life. Easier to see than the Compsognathus as well, which is very important, because as you will all know, Compsognathus has a habit of just full-on disappearing. So tiny, it kind of lost a lot of the drama. So, this adorable little critter over here is the baby Attenborosaurus, and this is a really cool mod by Viral Cyclops, who of course you'll have seen has been doing tons of really cool baby creature mods recently, but this is our first baby aquatic. And not only do we have a baby version, but we've also got an elder version. So there you go, what an awesome view that is. The really cool thing about this mod, so it comes with elder and baby versions, and it comes with alternate and standard ones. So the standard ones are just shrunk down or sized up versions of the regular Attenborosaurus, and then the alternate versions have slight morphological differences to represent their varying stages of life. But what I love about this is because it's not just the baby, but it's the elder as well, it looks like we've got this proper big family unit. You know, we've got all three life stages right here. You could just pretend that these ones in the middle are more like adults, and then the regular one, this is that in the distance, which seems a lot smaller all of a sudden. You could pretend that your regular one is your sub-adult, basically. So we've got 3 life stages going on here. We can do a little comparison between the two. You can see that this is the regular Attenborosaurus, baby version, scaled down, and then you've got your other one here with just a slightly larger eye, just to make it look babified, basically. So you've got your regular baby and your alternate baby, and then with the elders, these gigantic long ones, you know, twice the length of our regular Attenborosaurus. The difference, as far as I can tell, is primarily on the head. So if we look at the skull here, this is our, again, our regular Attenborosaurus scaled up to be an elder, and this one over here, this elder one, has a little bit of a ridge, a little bit of a bump here at the back of the skull, which, as you can see, is not usually present on the Attenborosaurus. So that's the one that kind of denotes that it's a bit of an elder. And you can just get this lovely, humongous family unit, all varying sizes. I think it's a really cool idea, and I'd love to see this done with other baby mods in the future. But Viral Cyclops is obviously putting a lot of work into this kind of system lately. And there's a slightly better size comparison for you. I think it's clear to see the elder one in particular is absolutely gigantic. I just think that's really cool. So shout out to Viral Cyclops, highly recommend this mod. Just for more naturalistic Site B style parks in particular. We're getting closer and closer to pretending that we have breeding and baby dinosaurs in the game. Right, for this final set of mods, we've got 2 more mods to show you, but I'm going to stay like this, and I'm going to show you these all via the toolbox, and you'll see why in just a second. So the first mod we're going to look at is the Accurate Sinoceratops mod, made by Viral Cyclops, El Reptiliano, and Sergestus. Sergestus? Not sure, let me know. Anyways, so we've got Sinoceratops, that's our regular hole punch Sinoceratops, or Pippo, as it was once fondly known, and now we have a new cosmetic for the Sinoceratops that adds a much more accurate version of it to the game. So we can get a really good comparison between the two there. Shockingly enough, no holes in the frill, first of all. The body in general, it's just a lot smaller, as you would expect. We've got a slightly more interesting patterning. The stripes there and all these little bigger osteoderms or bigger sort of scales poking out there a little bit, little osteodermic details. And then this lovely, the detail on the crest, on the frill, I should say, is really, really good. I love in particular how we've got these sort of spikes above the eyes and then how that follows along there. I mean, just look at this individual detailing here along that bone line. I think that's really, really beautiful stuff and much better looking. This Siloceratops, once my beloved, feels very outdated and kind of ugly nowadays. And this is, I'm not sure totally fits Evolution 2 per se, but that's not a criticism against it itself. So similar dinosaurs, but yeah, now we've got a lovely paleo accurate version, and that is the theme as well for our final mod. So Netraptor, who made that fantastic Pneumatoraptor we saw a little bit early on, has come out with a mod called their Paleo Compendium, and they're just putting all their different paleo accurate cosmetics onto this single mod page over on the Nexus. And there's 3 of them so far, and these were done by Netraptor with help from Gojira Chief and Kinda Creativity. And it should be noting you can download these individually. They're all separate files, so you can just pick and choose the ones you want. But we've got 3 of them so far, so let's take a look at these paleo accurate dinosaurs. One of them we have is the Aloro Titan, and one of them is actually Attenborosaurus, so let's do that first. So we've got our Mutabora there, and then we've got our paleo accurate Attenborosaurus. And our other one, like I said, so Aloro Titan, looking up. You know what? I'm not sure I realized how humongous Aloro Titan is compared to Attenborosaurus. And then our much, much smaller, more appropriately sized paleo accurate version, which of course, you know, we've got lots of lovely colors and stuff like that as well. Just gonna stick with default for this. And then finally, most excitingly, we have Maiasaura. So that is the Jurassic World version, and then we've got the paleo accurate version there. So let's take a look at all of these in turn. You can see that it's you know, it fits the same rig, it's fitting the same model essentially. It's just had some morphological changes. We've got like a slightly larger sort of dewlap sack kind of thing going on there, a little hanging gular pouch, whatever you want to call it. With this evocative colouring there on the crest as seen on both. The beak kind of a little bit less sharp and juts out a little bit further there. The Attenborosaurus, you would say, has had the fewest changes. It's small morphological differences to bring it more in line with the real creature, but you know, the default Attenborosaurus isn't bad whatsoever. Over here we have a Aloro Titan, which is a whole different kettle of fish. So the model itself is again not a humongous change. We've had some really interesting changes to the head crest there, where it kind of ticks back in like that, a little bit more strong. You know, it's less of a round curve like it is on the default model. The beak comes down a little bit lower. I love this swoop here. I think that's really beautifully done. Really nice sort of naturalistic sort of pattern. But of course the basic shape of the dinosaur has changed a lot. It's a lot smaller. It's walking quadrupedally at the moment. And the hump has been brought down again into these sort of more ridgeline, the elongated vertebrae we see all the time with dinosaurs. Again, another really nice paleo accurate looking dinosaur. And then finally we've got Maiasaura. Can it be redeemed? I mean, I never said this was not paleo accurate or something like that. I just hate it. And this one, yeah, I mean, it still has a silly face because it's a Maiasaura, but so it looks like that sort of the black head kind of always stays there. We've always got really, really sharp, bright white underbelly. The counter shading there, very, very sharp, and then the black counters it over at the top. But I really like this kind of just little dashes of teal going along there. Again, we've got the prominent vertebrae like we do on this one. It's mainly on the skull shape here, much more elongated, and we have less of this sort of very strong ridging over the eyes as well. It feels a little less shrink-wrapped like the traditional Jurassic World one does, which has always been my main problem with this part of the Maiasaura. It just feels like it doesn't have any muscle on its face. You know, it just feels like it's a skull, and then there's skin, and there's nothing in between, and that's really why I don't like it. This one, I think, feels a lot more fuller. You can see in the cheeks in particular, it feels fuller here at the snout. Again, it doesn't feel as tight and pressed against the skin. So, whilst I'm not going to become Maiasaura super fan, I think this is actually fairly beautiful. It looks pretty great. All, you know, rigged really well, working really well. And 3 more beautiful paleo-accurate dinosaurs to throw into your park. Some fantastic mods. Let me know which was your favourite of the bunch. I'm very prone to this baby Attenborosaurus. I can't lie, but I think we had that new Raptor is fantastic as well. And so they're all great. They're all great. Download them below. Give the mod makers some love. Throw me a like if you enjoyed the video. We will be back this week with hopefully some Minecraft dinosaurs. Got some stuff to showcase there, and a park tour, and probably some more Jurassic World 4 stuff, because that seems to be doing well and people enjoy it, and I've got more to say about it. So, stick around on the channel for more dinosaur nonsense. I'll see you lovely folks very soon. Thanks for joining me. Cheers much love as always. Bye-bye.
Road.